This is for the children of Yasharel scattered abroad and for everybody else looking for truth that are clinging to them. May Yah bless you and keep you. May Yah deal kindly and graciously with you. May Yah bestow his favor upon you and grant you peace. So today we're going to get into the 7 nations that Ahaya told the children of Yasharel to kick out of the land as they were inhabiting the land or going to inhabit the land, and how that relates to 7 emotions or personal traits, personal characteristics, abominations within your heart. And this is all from scripture. So, one of the nations, or as you can see, one of the characteristics was a proud look, arrogant, prideful eyes. And this is coming from Proverbs 6:17, 6:18. A lying tongue, deceitful, dishonest speech, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that thinks up wicked schemes, feet that are swift in running to mischief, a false witness who speaketh lies, and one that sows discord amongst brethren. Went over this with my children. I try to break it down and explain it to them, like with that movie Inside Out, how each of the characters represented an emotion. So same thing with this. Each nation represents one of the things that we just read in Psalms or Proverbs 6:17, 6:18. My understanding is my understanding. I'm not sure what's true, what's not true. It's just my understanding. The Hittites are the ones that shed innocent blood. The Girgashites represent the lying tongue. The Amorites represent the proud look. The Canaanites represent the heart devising wicked schemes. The Perizzites sow discord. The Hivites, a false witness telling lies. And then the Jebusites are the ones that are quick to run to do evil. And where I get that from is their names, their characteristics. Yes, I did a little bit of, research into, what these people were into and how they moved as a group. But their names kind of give it away. In Hebrew, when you name something, it's for a reason. That's usually like the characteristic represents the name of the people group or the name of the person and so on and so forth. That's why it's so important to know who is who, because in Zechariah 14:21, Yah essentially says that there's not going to be any more Canaanites in the house of the Lord of hosts. So, and I want to say all of these are Canaanites, from the land of Canaan. They were just different people groups that represented, different characteristics of the Canaanites specifically, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it correctly or how I understand it. But it was important that we were to drive out the inhabitants of the land, because if we didn't, they were going to become a thorn in the side of Yasharel, of the children of Israel, right? And that's, that's straight from scripture. It says, but if you will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that those which you let remain them shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and shall vex you in the land wherein ye dwell. Moreover, it shall come to pass that I shall do this unto you as I thought to do unto them. Right? And that's from Numbers 33. Again, Ahaya hates, the proud look, the lying tongue, hands that shed blood, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that are swift to do evil, a false witness, and a false witness that speaketh lies, and one who sows discord amongst his brethren. So ultimately what I'm saying is each nation represents something that must be purified out of the heart of his people, the children of Yasharel, and out of the nation itself, because they're both connected. That land, the land of the living, Nevada, if you go look at in Utah, the big giant heart in the form of mountain ranges, those, the land of hills and valleys, that's the promised land. And before we go back to that land, he's going to purify that land completely. It sat dormant, the mountains essentially, for the last 400, 500 years while, the land was keeping its Sabbaths. Now he's going to do a new thing, and it shall spring forth, and you will know it. He's gonna do a new thing, and there's gonna be, just like there was miracles coming out of the land of Egypt, the same thing is about to happen. So for his children, you guys, we need to purify ourselves. Everything that was listed, the lying tongue, the sowing discord among brothers, we need to stop all that before we're allowed to go back to the land. We need to take a really deep look at ourselves, reflect on what we've been allowed to be influenced by, and walk it back to Yah. We can't be caught up in Christianity, because that's the religion of the beast, I promise you. And I have many different teachings on that, and I'll continue to make more as needed. But we need to do his law. We need to walk in his law all the way to the end, just like it says in Psalm 119, 34, 33, 34. His law is to the end. I think Romans 10 verse 4 might say something different. Christ is the end of the law to those who believe, but it's not true. It's just, I'm getting sidetracked, but Proverbs 26:25, it says, when he speaketh fair, believe him not, for are the 7 abominations within his heart. Whose hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. Who shall dig at the pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth a stone shall be rolled upon him. The hatred that's covered by the deceit is Christianity, which was given to us by Esau/Edom, which is, the brother of Jacob, given to the children of Israel. And then basically the second half of that is what goes around comes around. They dig the pit for, and gave us a snare, but in the end, the children of Yasharel, as prophesied, will wake up, as they're starting to do right now, and they're going to reject it outright, and they're going to get in this word and teach this word faithfully to the masses, right? And then whoever wants to cling to the religion of the beast, go for it, but it's not for the children of Jacob. They're going to be purified and be made right with the Creator. Quickly, in Deuteronomy 11 verse 10, it says, for the land whither you go to possess is not like the land of Egypt, from whence you come out, where thou sowest thy seed, and you waterest with thy foot as a garden of herbs. But the land where you go to possess is a land of hills and valleys, and drinketh the water from the dew of heaven. As I've been saying, it's right there on any map. You go to Nevada, Utah, look at that big giant heart in the form of mountain ranges. That is the land of hills and valleys. That's the promised land that is desolate, that has sat desolate for the last 400 some odd years, 70 weeks until this day, right? It was 7 times 7. First Babylonian exile was 70 weeks, or 70 years, excuse me. Because we were wicked and didn't, get it right, we had 7 times 7. It's right there in scripture. We used to live on these mountains, farm in the valleys. That is the land promised as an inheritance to the children of Yasharel. It's a beautiful land, even in its current state, just desolate. And it's funny because it's being held by the Bureau of Land Management, BLM, Balaam, right? It's right there. They're playing in our faces. They're playing in everybody's faces. I think they slick, but Ahai he's gonna do a work. He's gonna come for his people. He's gonna rebuke everybody. And his children are going home. The true children and those that cling to them will be on Mount Zion. This is Mount Moriah right here that we're looking at. This is where the temple once stood, once upon a time. That's all I got for today. So for everybody looking for truth, may Yah bless you and keep you. May Yah deal kindly and graciously with you. May Yah bestow his favor upon you and grant you peace. Salah.